Let me ask you a question before you touch a thing. Out of every drain in your house, which one do you figure is growing the thickest layer of living crud on its walls? Take a second. If you guess the kitchen sink with all that grease going down it, that's a fair guess. It's wrong, but it's fair. If you guess the toilet line, wrong again. The dirtiest drain in your house is the one in your shower. The one place you go to get clean. And tonight, with a $1 brown bottle from the drugstore, I'm going to prove it to you. Because by morning, you'll see what's been living down there sitting right on top of your strainer. Stay to the end, too, because I'll show you a 10-second kitchen test that tells you whether the peroxide in your cabinet is still peroxide at all. Half the bottles I check on jobs are just water. But this doesn't start with the bottle. It starts with what's been growing in that pipe while you weren't looking. I'm Roger. I spent over 30 years running drain machines through other people's houses, and the pipe under a shower is reliably the ugliest square foot of plumbing in the building. Plumbers call that coating biofilm. Biofilm is a living film of bacteria that glues itself to the pipe wall and feeds on whatever washes past. If you've ever dumped out a vase of week-old flower water and felt that slick film on the glass, that's the same stuff, just better fed. Now think about what feeds the pipe under your shower. Hair, every single day. Soap scum, which is soap binding up with the minerals in your water into a sticky gray paste. Skin oil, dead skin. Shampoo and conditioner, which is close to liquid wax and made to cling. All of it lands in a pipe that stays warm, wet, and dark around the clock. You could not design a better greenhouse for bacteria if you try. The kitchen drain catches grease, sure, but the kitchen drain also gets blasted with hot water and dish soap every night after dinner. The shower drain gets fed, and then it gets left alone. Scrub the tile all you want. That musty, sour smell comes back the next day because it was never the tile. The film in that pipe is breathing, and when bacteria digest skin and soap, they give off gas, and the drain is an open straw running from the film straight to your nose. The real question is what it looks like down there where you can't see. And after tonight, you won't have to imagine it, because a good chunk of it is going to come up and show itself. Now, you've probably heard the fix for a smelly drain is a cup of bleach. That's the common version, and it is not the full picture. Bleach is thin as water. You pour it in, it runs straight through the film and on down the pipe, gone in seconds. It kills the surface it touches on the way by and leaves the thick layer underneath, alive and fed. And think about where you're standing when you use it. A shower stall is a glass box, the most enclosed spot in the house, and chlorine fumes in an enclosed space are hard on your eyes and your lungs. Make bleach a habit. And there's a slower bill coming too, because repeated chlorine chews up the rubber parts of your plumbing, the gaskets and seals that keep water where it belongs. I've replaced plenty of both. 3% hydrogen peroxide is a different animal. Peroxide clings, and the moment it touches living gunk, it starts to foam. That foam is oxygen ripping the film apart, and the bubbles push into porous crude in a way thin bleach never will, working into every pore and crack as they form. When it's finished, it breaks down into plain water and oxygen, nothing else, which means it's safe for a septic tank. It leaves those rubber gaskets alone, and there's nothing to breathe in that glass box. While I'm at it, let me pin down the word oxidize, because I'll use it again. Oxidizing means the peroxide chemically burns the gunk apart, cold, with no flame. Same family of reaction as rust, just fast and on purpose. And look at the price tags. The specialty drain deodorizers at the hardware store run $10 to $15 a bottle. The brown bottle of 3% peroxide runs about $1 at the big box store, maybe $2 at the drugstore. One shelf over, 1/10 the price. And it's the one that actually strips the film. Tonight, your bathroom. Here is the whole method, start to finish. Step 1, pull the strainer and get the visible hair out. Some strainers lift straight out, some pry up with a flat screwdriver, some hold on with a single screw in the middle. Get it out of the way, then pull whatever hair is wrapped around the crossbars or sitting in the throat of the drain. If you've got a bathtub instead of a stall, the pop-up stopper usually unscrews counterclockwise or lifts out with a quarter turn, and the same rule holds hair comes out first. This part matters more than it looks. Every wad of hair you remove is another foot the foam can reach. Leave the mat in place and the peroxide spins itself on hair instead of the film below it. Step 2. Dry things off. Towel out the drain mouth and give it a minute so the peroxide isn't landing in a puddle. Peroxide poured into standing water gets watered down before it ever finds the film, and you want it arriving at full strength. Step 3. Pour slowly. 1 to 2 cups of 3% peroxide straight from the brown bottle in a thin patient stream right down the throat of the drain. Slow matters. A slow pour coats the walls on the way down, while a fast dump shoots past them. Step 4. Walk away. Give it 30 minutes to an hour at the least. If that smell has been living in the bathroom for months, pour it before bed and give it the whole night. Nobody showers, nobody rinses. Come morning, you'll see exactly what I mean. Step 5. Flush it with hot tap water. Hot from the tap, never boiling. Plastic drain pipe starts to soften around 140 degrees, and boiling water is 212, so the hottest your faucet makes is plenty. Now for what you'll actually see, because this is what the title promised you. A minute or two after the pour, white foam starts climbing up out of the drain. That's oxygen tearing into the film, so let it work. And when you come back and run that hot flush, watch the strainer. Gray and brown sludge comes up. Flecks of black film, strands of hair you don't remember losing, lifted loose and floating. None of that is new dirt. You're looking at the coating off the inside of your own pipe, months of it, finally letting go, and the foam carries a load of it up to where you can see it. It's disgusting, and it's also the most satisfying thing you'll do all week. Wipe it off, rinse the strainer, set it back. That's the whole treatment. 1 bottle, 1 pour, 1 hot flush. Quick pause while the foam does its thing. This fix and about 100 more, like it live in my book. 100 old house fixes that save you thousands. The part I'm proudest of is it teaches you when a cheap patch is not a real fix, so you never pay for the same problem twice. It's linked in the description or scan the code on your screen. All right. Here's where it gets ugly, because 1 pour is not always the end of it. If your shower drain has smelled for months, 1 treatment knocks it back, but it will not erase a film that took a year to build. A chronic drain, and by chronic I mean the smell keeps creeping back inside a week or 2, needs to pour once a week for about a month. You'll notice the foam gets quieter each time, and less foam means less film left to fight. When a fresh pour barely fizzes at all, you've won, and you can drop back to once a month as plain upkeep. Run the money on that. A 32-ounce bottle holds about 4 cups, so at 1 to 2 cups a pour, that dollar bottle is 2 to 4 treatments. You're spending somewhere between a quarter and 50 cents a week during the heavy phase and pennies a month after. I mean, think about that for a second. The specialty drain freshener costs $10 to $15, and the habit that actually strips the film costs you a quarter. You'll know you've won by the mornings. Walk into that bathroom before anybody runs water, when the room's been shut up all night, and take a breath. A dirty drain announces itself first thing, before the fan and the toothpaste can cover for it. When that morning air smells like nothing at all, the film is gone. A shower that gets used every day holds that win on a monthly pour. A guest bathroom that sits idle needs the pour on the same day. You run its taps for a minute and handle that way. It stays hotel clean year-round. 3 rules before anybody gets creative, because the internet will try to talk you into mixing things. Rule 1, peroxide never meets vinegar in that pipe. Not the same night, and not as a chaser. Together they form peracetic acid, a corrosive acid that burns skin and eyes and gives off harsh fumes. And inside the trap, which is the curved bend of pipe below the drain that holds a plug of water to block sewer gas, that reaction can build pressure with nowhere to go. Rule 2. Peroxide never meets chlorine bleach. Bleach hitting peroxide dumps its oxygen violently, all at once, with heat, and you do not want that happening in a pipe or anywhere near your face. If bleach went down that drain recently, flush it well with water and give it a full day before the peroxide goes in. Same spacing for the caustic drain openers, the thick red and blue jugs. If one of those went down this week, flush the line with plenty of water and wait a day. Because you never want 2 different chemistries meeting inside a pipe you can't see into. And keep the peroxide on a different shelf from the bleach and the vinegar, so a rushed Saturday grab can't turn into a mistake. Rule 3, peroxide works alone. It doesn't need a booster, and nearly everything the internet tells you to add either cancels it out or turns it hostile. 1 bottle, poured slow, is the whole trick. And this is where tonight takes a turn you might not expect, because now I'm going to tell you what this bottle cannot do. I'd rather lose a view than dodge it. Peroxide is a film stripper and a deodorizer. It is no cure for a blockage. If your shower is holding standing water, if you're bathing over a puddle that takes 5 minutes to drain, there's a physical plug of hair down that pipe, and no amount of foam dissolves a wet rope of hair. Chemistry doesn't beat a rope. You pull it. The tool for that costs $3 to $6 at any hardware store. A flexible barbed plastic strip about 2 feet long. Feed it down past the strainer opening, twist it a few times, and pull up. What comes out will look like something from a horror movie, and that's fine, because that's the job. Once the rope is out and water swirls down the way it should, then the peroxide goes in, and from that day on, its job is keeping the film from ever rebuilding into a rope again. Think of it this way. Hair is the scaffolding, and the film is the plaster. Pull the scaffolding down, and the plaster has nothing left to hang on to. One more honest line while I'm at it. If the same sewage smell shows up at 2 or 3 different drains around the house at the same time, stop pouring things and make the call. Because a whole house smell points at what a venting problem or trouble out in the main line. And that is real plumber work. Paying for the right visit is smart money. It's the wrong visit I'm trying to save you from. Here's what the routine buys you. A plumber's visit just to diagnose a smell runs $100 to $200 in most towns. Call it $150 in the middle, and that's before a single repair happens. Nobody's getting rich teaching you a $1 habit, which is exactly why nobody taught you. It isn't a cover-up. It's arithmetic. A truck full of service calls pays a mortgage, and a brown bottle doesn't. For a while after that first pour, everything will seem fine. The smell fades, the water runs quick, and you'll be tempted to forget the whole business. That's usually when one of 5 little problems shows up. So let's walk through them now. Problem 1, you poured and got no foam at all. There are 2 possible reasons. Either that drain was cleaner than you thought, which does happen in newer houses, or the bottle you used is dead. Flat peroxide looks identical to fresh peroxide, and I'll show you how to tell them apart in a minute, so hang on. Problem 2. The smell creeps back within days, even though you're pouring weekly. First, make sure the smell is really the drain. Put your nose right at the strainer. If the drain itself smells clean, but the room smells like sewage, especially around a shower nobody uses much, the trap under the floor may have simply dried out, and sewer gas is strolling right past the missing water plug. That fix is free. Run the water for a minute and refill the trap. But if the strainer itself still stinks, the film is thicker than an hour of foam can reach. So switch to overnight soaks and run that barbed strip again, because a hair mass sitting deeper down will keep reseeding the smell no matter what you pour over it. Problem 3. The foam surged up over the drain and sat on the shower floor. Don't read that as failure. It means the film was heavy and the pour was fast. The foam settles on its own inside a few minutes, so wipe it up and pour slower next week. Problem 4, the bottle itself. Keep it capped tight in a dark cabinet in its original brown bottle because light kills peroxide, and that brown plastic is sunscreen for the chemistry inside. If a bottle ever looks swollen or hisses when you crack the cap, it has been quietly decomposing on the shelf, and there's less peroxide in there every day it sits. Problem 5. Your house is old enough that the drains under it are galvanized steel or cast iron instead of white plastic, and you're wondering whether any of this still applies. It does, and honestly, it applies harder. 3% peroxide is one of the gentlest things you can send through an aging metal drain. A whisper next to the caustic jugs that eat at pitted old pipe from the inside. The foam doesn't care what the wall is made of. It only cares what's stuck to it. So pour with confidence. Keep the flush at hot tap temperature, same as before. And let that old pipe keep doing its job. Which brings us to the test I promised you at the top. An opened bottle of peroxide starts fading within a few months, and a bottle that's been sitting open for a year is mostly water in a brown costume. So here is the 10-second check. Pour a splash into a clean glass and drop in a slice of raw potato, fresh off the knife. If the liquid boils up and fizz around that slice within a few seconds, your bottle is alive. If it just sits there quietly, you've been storing water. A raw potato is packed with the same living chemistry as the gunk in your drain. So, the potato answers the exact question the drain would. No fizz on the potato means no foam in the pipe. And that right there is how a treatment fails even when you did every single step right. Bottles cost $1. When in doubt, buy fresh, write the date on the cap, and use it up inside 6 months. and mind where that bottle lives. The bathroom cabinet feels like the natural spot, but a bathroom is warm, damp, and bright, which is the exact weather peroxide dies in. A hallway closet or the dark end of a kitchen cabinet keeps it strong far longer. If your household only pours a cup or two a month, buy the small bottle, because a fresh pint you finish beats a half-gallon that goes flat waiting its turn. So back to the quiz that opened this video. The dirtiest drain in the house is the one in your shower, but after tonight, yours won't be. Tomorrow morning, lift that strainer and look. The answer will be sitting right there in gray and brown, everything that was living below your feet while you got clean above them. And a few weeks of dollar pours from now, you'll lift the same strainer and find nothing but clean chrome and clear water. That's the whole point. $1 beat a $150 smell call. And my book runs that math across the whole house. 100 old house fixes that save you. Thousands shows you how to catch small leaks before they ruin floors, ceilings, and cabinets. It's linked in the description, or scan the code on screen. And subscribe to Roger the Pipe Guy for more old house fixes that keep money in your pocket. I'm Roger. Go get the brown bottle.